Hello and welcome back to the Ambassadors of Gaming Channel. Today I wanted to discuss Miles Morales, Spider-Man on PS4 Pro. Obviously many people will be looking forward to this game as a sort of next-gen iteration, and I can't really say I blame them, as you know, the original Spider-Man, the first game was pretty well done on PS4. It was very entertaining. It's probably one of my favorite games of the entire generation. So obviously a sequel regarding it would be extremely enticing for most of us. If you're seeing the screen tearing, if it didn't fix it in Premiere, I don't know what happened. It's probably just the capture card. I don't know. The game was running decent on the Pro, so it's probably just my capture software, so ignore that. But overall, I think it added, one of the things about it is that Miles is a different Spider-Man, so he has a different set of skills, he's a different person, and he has different sorts of abilities while maintaining a lot of the original abilities, but not the tech of Spider-Man. Obviously he has his web shooters, but for the most part, even the gadgets are completely different. I don't really favor gadgets all that much. When I played these games, I did heavily in the beginning, but kind of as your skill set grows and the abilities in which you can use become more and more available to you, I kind of just stray away from them and move more to hand-to-hand combat, because that's where I enjoy the game at its most. So what you're seeing here is the stealth that we did in the previous game, as well as the camo. The camouflage is in the upper right corner. It doesn't last very long, as you see, especially when you're taking enemies out, but it provides a needed boost if you need to get away, mostly because getting away in the first Spider-Man once you were spotted really sucked. It was really hard to kind of re-engage stealth unless you pretty much just swung outside the building and hung out on the side of the building. So what you're seeing here is the Venom powers that Miles has, which are again one of the other things that differentiates him from the original Spider-Man. And the Venom powers are probably my favorite part of the game. They're really well done. The suit mods that go in with the abilities that Venom powers give you really help make it so that you can have a really enjoyable experience and really feel powerful. But I think the balancing is still really good to the point where if you die, it's mostly because you weren't taking things seriously. The original playthrough I did was on Spectacular, and it was very difficult. It's the hardest difficulty you can get from the beginning of the game. And then on my new game plus to Platinum that I went through, this is normal mode, so this is probably what most people will see. That's one of the gadgets that Miles uses, the gravity well, which is similar to the type of Cyclone gadget that Spider-Man Peter had in the original. So it's similar but not the same. Miles only gets access to 4 gadgets throughout the game, but that's because he has the Venom powers. And I think you get because they're all attached to triggering with L1. I tried to go through as many as possible in this playthrough here. You have L1X, which is a jump up, L1 square, which is just a straight punch, L1 and triangle, which is a dash, L1 and X and square, which is a ground pound, and then L1 and circle and triangle, which is an explosion. And the explosion takes up all 3 bars. You don't get it until the very end of the game. It's the last ability you get. Obviously spoilers for anybody who cares. I turned off subtitles because I thought some of the spoilers in the subtitles were really bad. But obviously if you care about spoilers with the suits or the abilities or general stuff, obviously you don't want to be here. But if you're looking for stuff and you don't really care all that much, I think the biggest thing people are going to worry about with this game is not so much whether or not it's good, which it is. I think it's very good. I think the price is maybe a little high. I think maybe they should have gone with the the Uncharted type deal that they did, where it was $40 instead of the full 50 personally. especially on PS4 Pro. You'll see why in a little bit here. But overall, the game does what it needs to do, but my biggest issue, the thing that sucks the most about it, is it clearly did not get the same level of polish that the original Spider-Man did. The original Spider-Man really didn't have many glitches or graphical errors, or I didn't have much stalling in terms of navigating the map. In this, pretty much every time I played, every hour I would have I guess a game breaking freeze. It wasn't really a bug so much as it was a freeze. Like, the audio would continue playing in the background, but the visuals would just freeze. I'd lose control of the character, and it would just stay on that for however long you decide to leave it. I tested it to give it a few moments just to kind of see if maybe it was just like my PS4 was overheating or something, but no, it was just a straight up freeze pretty much every time, which was really, really aggravating, because I enjoy the game a lot, and it's every time I'm like super into it, getting super invested, is when it would freeze. Thankfully I didn't have any freezes while I was doing this. However, I was able to grab a graphical glitch, which you'll see here as soon as I come up onto this crime. This just happens sometimes. I was like, okay, let me get these guys. Oh, there's no one here, and then boom, they all just load in. So that just happens sometimes. Overall, the balancing is pretty good as you play through the game, but once you're at the end of the game, it's like the balancing is, I think, good for end game stuff. Like, at the end of the game, you don't want to be slugging through everything. So like, I beat that crime in literally 2 attacks. I hit that one guy with a web strike, and then I used the oh crap, what do you call it? The explosion. I think it's called Venom Blast or something. It doesn't matter. To kind of just finish everything off. But the swinging and everything else, traversal, feels just as good in this game as it did in the others, or as it did in the previous one. I think it has less movement upgrades and things like that, so it doesn't feel as fluid, I feel like, at the end. But I still enjoy overall just going around the city, swinging around, jumping from place to place, going to where I need to go. The side activities are okay. They're not the best, but honestly, they're not that hard. And they changed the way the tokens work, so you no longer have to collect 17 different types of tokens. You only have to collect 2, which is much easier, obviously. So you collect these activity tokens, which you get from pretty much everything except for these caches, which you'll see after this. And the activity tokens are what you use to unlock suits, what you use to unlock upgrades, what you unlock suit mods, all this types of stuff, except for skills. You still get skill points from leveling up. Leveling up is fairly easy. I think I hit max level right before I started New Game Plus after I 100%ed. So I mean, if you repeat crimes, which you can do through the app, which I don't think I showcased yet, but there's like this app that they added, which is really nice, because doing crimes in the first Spider-Man game really sucked, because you would just have to wait for them as a random encounter. Whereas in this one, you can trigger them immediately if you want, which is really nice. So, but yeah, these little tech things are hidden throughout both bases and throughout the city, and you'll come across them, and they're one of the side activities, and they're what you use to also upgrade your suits and your gadgets and all this type of stuff. So, but they're not unmanageable, honestly. Like, I think I got almost everything before the end of the game, and I didn't even 100% it. I think I 100%ed everything after the game, I'm pretty sure, and then I unlocked all the suits and all that type of stuff. And unlike the original one, I don't feel like you need to unlock the suits to get the better mods that were locked behind those suits in the first game. So I think they did a better job of balancing those out. The skill tree is really well done. I didn't like how some things were locked behind New Game Plus. I get why they did it, and it's because so many people would just not play the New Game Plus in the first one. But they locked like 3 skills in the skill tree behind New Game Plus, and each gadget's final upgrade you can't get until New Game Plus, as well as like 1 suit and some like 2 mods, I think, or something like that. So like there's a lot of stuff locked behind New Game Plus, which is a little obnoxious, but honestly, like, it's not gonna like deter you from beating the game. It's not gonna prevent you from beating the game. The balance is pretty good. I think I said this on a stream or something, but like I legitimately don't know how to beat half of the enemies in this game, and I still beat this game like fairly easily. On normal, fairly easily. On spectacular, it was a little bit more difficult. But overall, I think the game's probably one of the best. You'll see this this end of generation transition into next, but it does have a lot of performance issues, which is really not good. I don't know why that is. All I can speak is on my experience. I had tons of performance issues with the games, loading textures, loading character models, freezes, loading times during traversal, all this type of stuff. So of course I want to hear what you have to say, what you think if you played the game. If you played it on PS5, of course let us know. We would like to discuss it, of course. I believe Daryl will be getting it on his PS5 as soon as that releases here in Europe in 3 days. So he may have some PS5 impressions of the game once he gets in with it. So until next time, friends, I'm Ambassador Michael, and I'll see you in the next video, whatever that is. Bye.